Hey guys, this is your girl Leslie. Anyways, today we're gonna read chapter 5, Second Encounter. The full name, Just a Cool Love Story, Unexpected, chapter 5, Second Encounter. And I might read chapter 6 for you guys. And it might take a while to read because my 3 and 4 was 58 minutes. And I'm super sorry. I read horribly. And I read chapter 5, but I messed up in the first video, so I'm going to reread it for you guys. Oh, gosh. I was like at half of the end. But anyways, guys. Sadness, but don't worry. I'm doing this for you guys anyways. Let's start reading, because you know how much I care about my family. Anyways, guys, we shall start reading. Chapter 5, Second Encounter. Do you have to leave already? Anthony asked Jessie in a whining voice of a child. As they both stood in the creamy-colored, warm hallway of Anthony's house, Jessie couldn't help but stare in the wonder at her friend's childish whimsy, which she didn't get to see often since he had an agenda for being the mature one out of the two. She took an instant photo in her mind of this moment, since it was unlikely that she would see this image again, or anytime soon. What do you mean, already? It's already past 9, Jessie replied while clumsily putting her school shoes on by Anthony's front door, nearly tripping over from having to balance herself while slipping her shoes on her feet, which were in the air, and talking at the same time. Eventually, she just ended up just leaning on the wall to keep her balance. Besides, aren't you the one who always telling me to stop staying up late because it's bad for my health? Oh, I'm just worried about you. After all, you did faint earlier. Yeah. You did faint earlier today. Maybe you should stay here tonight. Anthony handed Jessie her school bag reluctantly, and she took it hesitantly and put it on her shoulders. He knew that she wouldn't take him up for his offer. Even, sorry guys, I keep messing up. Continuing. Offer, since he knew that she would delude herself into thinking that she would be intruding on his household. He still felt the need to preserve and ask anyway. I appreciate the concern, but I've already told you, I'm fine. The glasses-wearing gamer wouldn't take that as an adequate confirmation of Jessie's feelings. But he couldn't say anything to oppose that. It wouldn't do him any good. He knew that she had a habit of pretending to be fine even when she wasn't, so as not to worry the people around her, which he knew was idiotic. But she was too stubborn and into her routine to change her ways now. It was the way she grew up. At least let me walk you to your front door. Dude, I live next door to you. Calm yourself. What's gonna happen? I get mugged on the way to my house? She asked sarcastically as she went to open the door. I'm alright. A little tea and a little PewDiePie. I cannot pronounce that. And I'll be as right as rain. As Brits say, keep calm and carry on. That display of enthusiasm wasn't going to convince her friend. Anthony was still the concerning face of the protective older brother that Jessie wished she had. The fact that he was worrying so much about her gave her distinct, mixed feelings about his attitude towards her. And on one hand, it made her feel really warm inside because it showed that she cared about her. And their valued friendship and and valued their friendship enough to worry. At the same time, she hated making him fret over her because she felt like a burden whenever she did. Plus, she managed to make this happen due to a lot of her random shenanigans and disky ways. She just had to act normal, that she had agreed with herself earlier. Joyfully, she flicked Anthony's forehead, snatching his attention. Hey, I'm okay, okay? After a moment of talking and what just had happened, Anthony nodded and mumbled, okay. Good. Tell your mom that dinner was freaking awesome. Not in those words, obviously. She giggled. The schoolgirl turned around now and put her hand up so she could signal Anthony that she was leaving. See you at school tomorrow. When she reached Anthony's small iron front gate, she heard the door she had just left from gently shut and lock. Knowing that Anthony couldn't see her anymore, she sighed and made her way out the gate into the quiet Sloane Street. She had successfully gotten through the afternoon without saying to anyone about knowing that Jeff the Killer was in Oxford, and was glad about it. She didn't have managed to get through the day without signs of anything being wrong with her since she had fainted, but that couldn't be helped now. So so was so there was no use worrying about it. The only problem was Anthony's constant worry for her, but that couldn't be helped either. What had happened with John earlier that day was still running through her mind. That feeling that she was getting seemed to come back repeatedly whenever she was around him, in particular, peculiar, I meant. But it had also happened when Jeff attempted to strangle her, so she had no idea what it was that was. Keep messing up. These words are so little. I'm sorry, guys. It was that was called. It was that was causing. There we go. Thank you. Sorry, guys. My tongue is twisting too much. She couldn't describe the feeling, but if she attempted it, the closest thing that she could come up with that she was being it was like being turned on. What? Wait, does that mean that I wanted to have sex with John? But I never had it before and I barely know John. And also happened when Jeff was trying to kill me. Does that mean I'm a misochist? And why do I always picture hurting them whenever it happens? Am I extreme sadist and as well as a misochist? What's wrong with me? Panic flew through her brain as she became red at her own thoughts. She couldn't possibly figure this out by herself at school, where there was counselors for sexuality confused teens that she knew about, but never visited. Why would she visit them? She never had a proper boyfriend before, and she wouldn't need sexual counseling. And besides, she could imagine that they would be any help this problem of hers. This had all begun with Jeff's visit to her house the night before. So maybe he knew what was happening to her. She grabbed head, her head tightly, waiting her thoughts to stop, but not succeeding in making it happen. Jeff, what have you done to me? Around the corner from sorry guys, actually accidentally switched. Around the corner from the flush Jesse, behind a brick wall, Jeff the killer was um, hoodie up, face covered by the dark mane, and his knife in his pocket, hand on it, ready to attack someone if they need be. He peered around the corner at Jessie, examining her. She noticed that her developed physique first. He was a boy in his late teens after all. He could only see her from behind, but her rounded backside was enough to make him wonder why she wasn't hor- horrid by boys trying to date her constantly at school. She rotated her body slightly so Jeff got a good look at her chest. The sudden urge to wander over there and grope her was undeniably undeniable and desperate. But the killer knew that he had to stay hidden away in the darkness. He didn't want to draw any attention to himself. That was that was why idiotic criminals were caught shortly after their crimes. They gave into temptation too quickly. Although desperate, despite her overly developed body, there was nothing even remotely abnormal about this girl. She seems like a normal girl when you look at her like this. She also seems to be someone that I could kill in a heartbeat. Her innocence is so delicious. Too bad I can't even touch her. He noticed that she began to walk toward her own house, just next door to her friends. I should teach her how to embrace her true self, if she's one of us. The clock read 11:45 p.m., but Jessie was still awake. Contemplating in her kitchen, she was just spent with every waking moment since she had gotten home, attempting to research Jeff the Killer on the internet. However, she hadn't discovered anything that she didn't already know. Eventually, she gave up, decided to go downstairs and get a drink, hopefully grow tired enough to drift to sleep. Damn, I never thought the day would come when I would get sick of researching a murderer. Who could have ever guessed that? As she poured herself a glass of mango juice, Jessie glared at a photograph of Jeff that she had printed off a random website that night. The photo was of Jeff before he had become a serial killer. He was a young, happy, and seemed full of life on the photo. He must have been around 12 when the picture was taken. His skin wasn't paper white, as it was now. It was fair, as perfect as porcelain dolls, with rosy cheeks, just like an ordinary healthy child. His hair was chestnut brown and his eyes were bright and sapphire colored. Unlike the deep, uh, unlike the deep dark black that they were now, he was completely different person. The photo was taken in what looked like a public park, and an older boy who looked slightly like, sorry guys, I'm eating grapes. Like Jeff. Sorry guys, my phone. With the same colored hair, was next to him, smiling as brightly as the younger boy was. And it must have been his brother, Lou. Lou. Jesse. Seriously? Lou. Jesse had done enough research to know all about his brother. The whole story of Jeff's family seemed almost alive after seeing this photo. You never would guess that the boy in this photo turned out to be the sensational murderer, as vicious and violent as Jeff the killer. Forcefully, Jessie took a large sip of her juice, placed the glass down on her kitchen counter, and sighed, still looking at the photo and all of it. How did he manage to change so much? There was normally signs once they were killers that there's something wrong with them. But with there were none with Jeff. He was normal. The bullying couldn't have changed him that much, could it? The teen leaned on the counter, began to remember last night. She could still feel Jeff's grip around her throat. She softly rubbed the area in which the killer had grabbed her and ran her up and down supposedly wounded area, wondering how there's no marks there. It was surprising because the strength and force Jeff had used that night. I wonder if I'm back here. Words echoed in her mind. Look, girl, I don't know who the hell you are, and I don't know what you did, but I'm gonna find out. Sounded like he was gonna come back. You might be able to figure out what the hell's wrong with me before I can. The girl's eyes gently shut and exhaled once more. Already have. Jessie flinched. She instantly sat up and rotated her body, hoping that she would only be hearing voices in her head. Her eyes beheld the young slaughterer that she had met last night, hands in his hoodie pocket and in a relaxed posture. Hi, Jesse Walker. Jessie was frozen. The phrase, speak of the devil, popped in her head for a moment. But, I meant, but only for a moment. It was no time to be making puns in her mind. Uh, hello, Jeff. Her heart pumping into overdrive, and her throat suddenly became dry. She was feeling actual fear in front of Theodore. Fear that even caused her to begin to tremble slightly. However, her tongue stirred in an attempt to let him know that she wasn't afraid of him, which of course was a complete lie. Oh, don't even start with the scared act. You know I can't kill you. Jeff started sounding irritated. The frightened girl had no idea what to do. She had so many questions for this man. But she was around him. He was, after all, someone who had taken so many lives without a moment's hesitation. Although he had a point, if he wanted to kill her, he would have done it the night before. So she was semi-safe. For now. Uh, sorry. It's just I'm not used to talking to a world renowned serial killer. Jeff interrupted. Jessie looked down at her tilted kitchen floor and mumbled, "Yeah, we'll get used to it. I'm not going anywhere for a while." Jessie flinched at the statement. "Wait, what do you mean by that?" Jessie, Jeff, I meant. Jeff moved closer and closer towards Jessie and put his long, slender finger into where her heart would be while leaning closer towards her face, causing her to jolt backward slightly. However, she couldn't get very far since her kitchen counter was right behind her. "You're becoming like me." Silence flooded the room. Jessie couldn't believe what she was hearing. Still, so many questions that she had yet to be answered, and he had, on top of those, say, by saying something like, "What? I don't know whether it was me meeting you, or me pinning your teenage body down, or whatever, but I think something about me will cause something inside of you to awaken, something dangerous." The answered That answered one of Jessie's questions. Now she knew that the feeling she kept getting was Jeff's fault, after all. Jeff wasn't even sure if his theory was right, but it was only one that he could come up with, even if she was an ordinary girl now. But that didn't mean that she wouldn't change like he did. Judging by what he had seen of her life the same day, she was going through the same thing that he had, developing the urge to harm and kill, which meant by the theory must have been true. Well, Jesse began. "How did I get rid of this thing?" "Get rid of it? You, you can't if you could. Do you think I'd be a serial killer right now?" He questioned. His question made Jesse tense. "There's no way." "There's no way. You just need to embrace it. That's why I'm here to help you." "But those thoughts I keep having, they're about hurting people." Jessie pleaded, gritting her teeth while making an extreme troubled face. "I know, like that John guy." Jeff knew about John? Jessie couldn't believe that. "How do you... I followed you for a while, making sure that you didn't do any stupid mistakes. You can't rush this." He slowly moved his pale fingers to Jesse's suddenly pink cheeks. "I know you're good. I know how good it feels to hurt someone. But you need to wait to kill him. You're not ready yet." "Kill? What? Kill?" "Shh. Don't panic. Just listen to me." Jessie did as she was told and hid her fear and panic behind her seemingly calm face. She nodded to confirm that she would do what he asked her. "You need to get used to the feeling of causing harm to hurt people before anything." He reached into his hoodie and pulled out his famous kitchen knife that Jessie had seen the night before. He turned around so he wasn't holding the handle, but the blade of the knife, the handle facing Jessie, causing her eyes to widen. She instantly knew what he was trying to ask, what he was about to ask her. "Try and hurt me." Guys, this was chapter 5. I'm sorry I messed up. My mom came in here and helped me. I couldn't find my glasses, but she found them and gave me some good grapes to eat while we were reading. Anyways, guys, I'm going to read chapter 6 because I want to find out. Oh, like, I'm just dying to find out what happens. Anyways, well, I ate this grape. I'm going to find chapter 6. Found it. Chapter 6. Technique. By the way, guys, I left the thing in the description so y'all can find this story. I'm sorry if it didn't turn blue and y'all can just press it. I'm gonna try to fix that. Remember, still trying to discover about YouTube. So I'm trying my best. Anyways, guys, let's start reading because I just want to find out. I just want to find out right now. Okay, chapter 6, techniques. Jessie stood in an A as Jeff was pressing for her to take his knife from him in order to cause harm to the very man holding the murder weapon. It was strange enough that Jeff had managed to sneak into Jessie's house undetected again. But now he was going to ask her to use his own signature kitchen knife against him? The famous murderer, Jeff the Killer, who had been on the loose for years and had a reputation for killing mercilessly and painfully, and who nearly killed her the night before, was asking to hurt him. This was one of the strangest couple of days of Jesse's life. To Jesse, the very idea of harming another human, even if they were literally asking for it, was something that she found hard to do, unless it was the most desperate of circumstances or in self-defense. But it wasn't for either of those reasons. It was wrong. The only other time she could recall hurting another human being on purpose was when those idiotic boys were picking on Anthony back when they were in primary school. It was a break and a few boys were trying to steal his Pokemon cards away from him. Jessie was telling the teacher, but it wasn't working. They just brushed it off of laziness and clearly didn't consider it important enough to become involved. The boys started getting violent, grabbing Anthony by his collar and threatening him. All for which a bunch of stupid pieces of cards as they could buy themselves for 70p a packet. 70 pennies of a packet. Jessie had always assumed that they couldn't afford them, but didn't want to admit it out of shame. Since they were bullies, it wasn't really a likely assumption. Jessie decided to take tentative, trying to pronounce it, I'm skipping it, and rushed over to the scene. Without warning, she kicked one of the boys around the head, shouting, "Leave him alone!" while copying a move that she'd seen on Dragon Ball Z, knocking the boy to the floor. By this time, the teacher stepped in. Finally, all of the kids, even Anthony and Jessie, got in trouble in the end. Anthony deeply appreciated what she had done. And honestly, she felt great about herself for doing it. If her friends were in trouble, well, she would always step in and help them. However, this was completely different. There was no danger. There is no getting hurt. There was no one getting hurt. There was no problem. You want me to stab you? She asked cautiously. For some reason, unknown to Jessie, Jeff began to laugh, causing her to jolt. Oh, relax. The whole I can't kill you thing goes both ways. You know, there's no way you could ever do anything to me that would kill me. I just wanted you to cut my arm or something. He said as if he were the most casual thing in the world. I want to want someone to cut you. There was no way that Jessie could bring herself to that what he wanted. Why would she cut some guy she didn't even know? Even if he was a serial killer? Why? I don't understand what you want me to. Because you need experience, Jeff interrupted. Have you ever teleported? No, but. Sorry, guys. That's my mom. Dog stuff. You know. Well, you might think we're yelling in Spanish, but we're not. Don't worry. Then you need to know what it feels like. I'm continuing. He pressed the knife handle against her chest, edging for her to take it from him. The murder researcher was in a tight spot. She knew that all of what Jeff had told her up until that point must have been true. He had no reason to lie to her. The fact that she was one of his kind, as he put it, the fact that he couldn't kill her because of it seemed to be logical enough, even though he could have just not felt the killing the night before, but she wouldn't question him. He was the one with the knife at the moment, after all, although she didn't want to do what he had said. The feeling wasn't coming back to her, so the thought of hurting someone else wasn't pleasant to her at all, but disgraceful and unnecessary. Was he expecting her just to get that feeling and have no problem hurting him? She could just make it happen like that. She didn't even know what that feeling was or why she was getting it, unless it was because she was like him. I don't want to. Huh? I'm not like you! Jesse grew with fury. I'm not a murderer. I may research them in my spare time, but that doesn't mean I want to become one. You research murders in your spare time? What kind of weird? That's kind of weird for someone who is supposed to murder. Jessie became red from the insult, realizing that she had just told a complete stranger something that was deeply personal to to her. That I'm sorry, guys. This part is sort of funny to me. I'm sorry. Is that bad? Comment down below. That she shouldn't have mentioned. Why did she mention that? Shut up! She snapped. I'm not like you. I'm not. Suddenly, Jeff used the arm that wasn't positioned of the knife and grabbed Jessie by the neck, just as he did the night before. She pushed her back even further against the kitchen counter, choking her slightly. The dump, there it was. Jessie felt traveling all around her person. The need to spill blood had suddenly become stronger. Her heart million times an hour, causing her chest to give a huge amount of pain, and her threading was hitching. Would Jeff notice immediately feel that? He asked in a whispered voice, but seductively toned, trying to convince her of his plan. We need to get the feeling to harm other all we want. But the second that we try to kill each other, it disappears. That's what happened to me last night. I guess you can see it like you belong to one of my lot of my lot killed my boner. Jessie was trying her hardest to listen what Jeff was saying, but the feeling was too intense. She wanted to push him off and pin him down, being become dominant, the killer, and use his own knife on himself, contradicting everything that she believed about violence. This desperate longing of seeing of seeing blood spilled before her was taking over. Jeff continued to speak. If you get used to the feeling of spilling blood, then when the day comes that you'll actually need to, it won't be a problem for you. You seem like a kind person who would regret taking a life. So trust me when I say that you need this. He released her, causing her to fall to the floor. Pause there. Wow, that is wow, that is intense. If you think about it, he does have a point, right? Comment down below if he has a point. She put her continuing. She put her hands on the tiles to keep herself up. Nothing could have prepared her for this feeling. Her whole body felt numb and weak. But at the same time, what was twitching now and then. A strange sensation she had never felt before. She was also burning up and felt a wonderful tingling feeling in her lower stomach. However, the most noticeable thing about her state were her hands. They were trembling with is what felt like anticipation. She wanted to hold the knife. Her slender fingers curled as if an invisible knife were in her possession, and she was holding on to it as tightly as she could, not letting anyone not letting anyone take it away from her. But it wasn't enough. She needed she needed the real deal. Jeff fell down to her level and held the knife in front of her face, her eyes dulled and foggy, and handle still facing her. You clearly want to. Just do it. There was no hesitation anymore. Jessie snatched the knife and grabbed Jeff by the neck, causing him to fall to the floor, make an oof noise as he went down. He was surprised when Jessie was sudden to attack him, considering all of her hesitation and denial from a moment ago. He gazed up at her, staring at her large brown eyes, are now full of blood and just anger. But she still had a twinkle within them. If she had if she was enjoying herself, he recognized the look on her face. She seemed to see it so many times in the eyes of his friends from back home in America. Ben, laughing Jack. He even bet that if Slenderman had eyes, he would make that a face too before taking a victim too. He felt at home. He was among a fellow killer. The bloodthirsty girl put more grip on Jeff's neck, causing him to now choke, just like Jesse did before and pushed the blade in his neck. A large smile appeared on her childish lips and small struggles were shaping her mouth. As she did this, showing Jeff that this girl was in pure ecstasy at the most, she gently slid the sharp kitchen knife across Jeff's paper white neck without actually pressing the blade into his jugular. I can't pronounce that again. While trembling with anticipation, causing the tragedy of the blade to be rough and disorienting. Not that this mattered to Jessie at the moment. After all, she could make him bleed. Remember to not make the cut fatal. You'll stop if you attempt and feeling will disappear. Jeff calmly started while glazing up at this dominate dominate net party. She seemed to notice what he said because she instantly took the knife away from his neck when he said it. Anger flushed her face now. Jeff assumed that it was from the feeling of not being able to cut his throat and let him slowly bleed to death as the crimson liquid from within him sprayed everywhere. The frustration growing and growing, she grabbed his arm and pushed him above his head. She pulled down the sleeve of his hoodie and revealed his sterile skin. For the moment, she felt it gently. Still panting and chuckling to herself, reminding Jeff what he must have looked like when he first killed. But then she placed the knife next to it, running it down the slender forearm. For Jeff couldn't help but feel slightly aroused by Jessie's bloodlust. It was her first time attempting to even purposely harm anyone, just for pleasure, let alone create a fatal wound or kill. And he was wishing that he could just let her stab him, just so that he could see her face in a perfect ecstasy after finally able to give him a fatal blow. And then it would be worth it if he could witness that. To him, this feeling was close to a man meeting a virgin girl and wanting to be one to prompt her and take her virginity. Slice! She did it. His arm was cut pretty deep. Give me a second, guys. I'm eating. Ah, ow! Or like, give me a second. Ah! Jeff yelled out in pain. Your pleasures it as well. He knew that he was majestic and sadistic already from years of experience in this field. Getting cut wasn't there for him, especially if it was a cute girl like Jessie doing it. Not that he had ever experienced a girl willingly slicing his skin, unless it was so perverted for him from murdering them, which he loved. Yeah, Jessie had snapped out of it. Guys, pause right there. Wow, that is an intense. Wow. I never heard anything that intense before. Wow. That is intense. She dropped the knife on her tiled kitchen floor and stared at the deep cut that she had just made on Jeff's arm. The blood spilling out was like a fountain. Just know that she'd gone back to normal inside, calming himself down and reminding himself that he was doing this not for fulfill his sick fantasy, till Jessie realized what she was. Holy shit, I'm so sorry. We need to get you to a medical. You're. Uh, then Jessie felt something poke through Jeff's jeans. Something hard, but fragile at the same time. She went extremely crimson, just like the blood pouring on Jeff's arm. Just sat there, open mouthed. Jeff went pink from the shame of letting someone see him this aroused without having forced himself on. Sorry, sorry. Can get me out? Can you get me uh of me now? Can you get off me now? Sorry, they spelled it wrong. The teen did as she was told and immediately jumped off of him. She stood up and rampaged desperately through her kitchen drawers, looking for a bandage that she could put around Jeff's wound. Eventually, locating a box of them, she didn't normally hurt herself or have any accidents around her house. So she barely had used bandages or plasters. But she was a that was a good thing for many reasons. They looked brand new, as if she just bought them. She pulled them out of her drawer. Letter. Uh, Jeff followed her lead and stood up. Uh, let me patch you up. She nervously muttered, gripping on the box, her guilt shining through. I got it. The killer grabbed the bandage from Jesse's hand and began to walk towards the kitchen door. Seems like your body couldn't handle that yet. Sorry, I miscalculated. Well, I have to go slower than that. He turned to her face. Don't worry, I'll train you soon enough. Jessie was in shock after what just happened, feeling so desperate to hurt other person and all, but she couldn't let Jeff leave without at least trying to help with him with his cut. After all, she's the one cut who had caused that injury on him in the first place. Jeff, stay a minute and let me help you with that wound. Uh, he looked towards the floor, going pink again. His hands in his pockets. I should leave. I kind of need to take care of this problem. Um, my pants. Anyway, I'm sorry. I think I'm a bad person for laughing, but I'm a good person. I'm a good person. Jessie couldn't take any more sexuality themed conversation or feelings. She felt as if she was about to explode from it. She didn't know if it was the blood spilled all over the floor or the fact it was late and she was tired or the fact that she just sat on Jeff's situation. Ouch. Awkward. Anyways, but she was beginning to feel dizzy. Alright, when will you come back? She asked, trying, but not succeeding to hide her blushing face. It wasn't as if she really wanted this deadly teen to come back into her house, but it didn't mean that he was going to leave her alone. Plus, it wasn't as if she was going to deal with her sudden urge to cause blood to come out of people. Jeff seemed to know what he was doing. He was all she had to tell her. discover what was wrong with her. I'll be following you all day tomorrow. You need me? Just just say so and I'll come out of hiding. Wait, why are you gonna follow me? Oh god, sorry guys, that is super funny question to me. Let's continue. I can't leave you alone considering you clearly want to kill that John kid. But I can't exactly go out in the daylight. Someone could see me. Jessie jolted. She didn't know what he meant by her wanting to kill John. Did her getting the feeling around him meaning that she wanted to kill him? Just trust me. I'll see you around. Jeff? The murderer stopped in his tracks and turned to face the new despicable. Even though there was a huge amount of blood in the kitchen and floor that Jessie would need to clean up after, she didn't take her eyes off the teenager in front of her. What are we? I can't I can't tell that you're not a normal murderer, and you say that I'm like you, so what are we? His next words would stick with Jessie for the rest of her life. It was the first phrase that Jeff had stated, which really made Jessie think, that's easy. We're monsters. Guys, that is the end of chapter 6. So surprisingly, I did 5 and 6 for you guys in probably 52 minutes. Anyways, guys, I am going to do more stuff. Probably after this I might make more videos. You have no idea. Anyways, guys, I'll see you later. And guys, I'm probably gonna post pictures. I'm not sure how to. I'm still figuring it out. So don't worry, guys. I'm working. I'm trying to work here. Anyways, guys, peace.